Radar indicated rotation moving northeast at around 50 miles per hour. We'll go ahead and give you a look at Viper radar here. This does include the town of Oxford, which this storm is expected to be in your area at around 5:55. Again, a tornado warning has been issued for the northeastern part of Furnace and the northwestern part of Harlan counties until 6:15. This is radar indicated rotation. We did have a report from the public of rapid rotation just to the north of Beaver City. So we'd be looking in this area just north of Beaver City for rotation in this storm, and really starting to see that develop here. This couplet developing here just straight to the north of Beaver City. So we're looking, we're talking 5 miles north of Beaver City is where there would be the possibility of a tornado. So far, this is radar indicated rotation, but if you live in the city of Oxford, you should be seeking shelter immediately. Again, you'll want to head to the lowest level of your home, away from any doors and windows. Basement ideal. If you don't have a basement, you'll want to head into the most interior part of your home. Again, put as many walls between you and the outside of your home as possible. So an interior closet or a basement is what you'd be wanting to find. Again, this is radar indicated rotation that we did have public reporting rapid rotation north of Beaver City. Now really starting to see that show up here on Viper radar. In fact, really a very solid couplet has just now developed in the last, couple of minutes. This has intensified very quickly. So again, if you live north of Beaver City, northeast of Beaver City, towards Oxford, you should be seeking shelter immediately. Again, this is a significant amount of rotation that has just developed within the past 5 minutes at most. We have a tornado watch that is in effect until 10 o'clock for much of the area. Up until now, these storms have not been really able to fully take advantage of the atmospheric conditions that have been in place. This is the first one that has really shown the potential for that, and that rotation developed extremely quickly. So if we show you the last 15 minutes, really nothing showing up here on velocities, and then all of a sudden it starts to take shape there to the north of Beaver City. So again, if you live in Oxford, you should be seeking shelter now. Lowest level of your home, again, away from any doors and windows. If you have the basement, you want to head to the basement. The tornado warning is in effect for northeastern Furnace and northwestern Harlan counties until 6:15. Radar indicated rotation with this storm, and also seeing that showing up again here on velocities, but also being reported by the public. Rapid rotation being reported just to the north of Beaver City. So again, this is expected to be into the Oxford area at around 5:55. Okay, so those of you in Oxford, it's headed your way right now. Within the next couple of minutes, it will be heading into your region. And right now, it looks like this rotation would move directly towards the town of Oxford. So again, please be seeking shelter. Again, this is radar indicated as of right now. We do not have any confirmation of a tornado on the ground, but as we have seen so far this spring, now going into summer, we have seen these capable of putting down tornadoes extremely quickly. So if you live in the Oxford area, you need to be seeking shelter immediately with this storm that is moving into your way. We do have chasers that are out. We are getting a report of a touchdown north of Beaver City. That's coming into the National Weather Service. Right now tracking between Edison and Hollinger, moving towards the Oxford area. So we have had a report of at least a brief touchdown. That's coming into the National Weather Service. A brief touchdown was reported north of Beaver City. And again, that is directly where we are seeing that radar indicated rotation. So this is the couplet where you see those shades of green and red that are right next to each other. That's the area of rotation. That's where we are seeing the reports of a possible touchdown with this system. And it is moving directly towards the Oxford area. So again, Oxford westward, you should be in your safe place right now. Lowest level of your home. And again, I know that, we got kids that are home from, school for summer break. This is a scary situation. So as I try to always bring this up, try to keep them calm, maybe grab something, that's kind of a security blanket or something for them as you're heading to your safe place. That way you can help keep them calm. But again, this storm is really the first one that has been able to take advantage of these atmospheric conditions. That warm front has been extremely slow to move northward. But now that it has, and it's moved up close to I-80, south of it, the atmosphere is unstable. We have a decent amount of wind shear that is in place, and that little bit of a notch showing up here just to the west of Oxford, that lines up very well with where we have that radar indicated rotation. So this is, again, a radar indicated rotation, but we have had a report of a touchdown north of Beaver City. No reports of damage or anything like that. Again, this is moving towards the Oxford area, continuing to show pretty significant signs of rotation as it's moving kind of east-northeast. So Oxford, this is just outside of city limits there. I mean, we're talking less than probably 5 miles west of town for the possibility of a tornado that, again, we have had report of a touchdown. So the latest update coming in from the National Weather Service, tornado warning remains in effect until 6:15 for northeastern Furnace and northwestern Harlan counties. Again, that runs until 6:15. This severe storm capable of producing a tornado near Edison, moving northeast at around 40 miles per hour. I want to go ahead and show you. This is what it looks like from our storm chaser who is out tracking these storms. This is Nathan Moore. He is out on these storms right now. I'm trying to get his exact location so that we can pass it on to you. But he has been out following this storm since it began. And now, again, this tornado warning runs until 6:15, and that is for portions of Furnace and Harlan counties. So right now it looks like our storm chaser is just to the west of Oxford. He is right on this rotation. So we are looking live just west of Oxford on this tornadic warned storm that really intensified extremely quickly. We went from what appeared to be a little bit of rotation to a report from the public of significant rotation. Now we've even had a report of a brief touchdown north of Beaver City.
Looks like it's ready to go, right where your mouse is.
Yeah, it certainly appears that we've got a good amount of rotation. Again, this is our storm chaser, Nathan Moore, providing us with this live footage. Again, he is just to the west of Oxford as we continue to see what is a tornado-warned storm for the possibility. Again, radar indicator rotation, but we have had reports of a possible touchdown to the north of Beaver City. If you live in Oxford, you should be in your safe place. You should already be in your basement. We'll go back to radar here and give you a look at it. Okay, yeah, that is significant rotation just to the west of Oxford. So our storm chaser is just west of town, and that is significant rotation just to the west of Oxford. We're talking maybe a couple of miles. Maybe a couple of miles west of town. And this storm, so we're talking maybe 4 to 5 miles west of town with this significant rotation. We do now have a severe thunderstorm warning to go along with this tornado warning. Severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 6:15 for southeastern Gosper, northeastern Furnace County. So the same area is also under a thunderstorm warning for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, as well as the potential of nickel-size hail. But the concern right now is significant rotation showing up just to the west of Oxford. And again, our storm chaser, Nathan Moore, is out tracking this cell. I'm waiting on the next kind of radar scan update before we go back to his video. I just want to see what the latest update is going to come in from the new radar scan and see how this rotation is doing. There was a report, again, a report of a touchdown just to the north of Beaver City. That came into the National Weather Service not quite 10 minutes ago. A report just to the north of Beaver City of a possible touchdown. And again, this is moving east-northeast and heading towards the town of Oxford. So those of you who live in Oxford, you should already be in your safe place. You should be in your basement, the most interior part of your home. Again, try to put as many walls between you and the outside of your home as possible. So if you don't have a basement, you head to that interior closet, that bathroom, wherever. It doesn't have, the doors and windows leading to the outside to try to keep your family safe. So there's the latest update. The rotation tracking, it looks like just to the west and northwest of town. And we certainly would want this rotation to keep moving its way north of town. We're going to go ahead and take our chaser, Nathan Moore, and see what he's seeing. Again, he is located just to the west of Oxford. And he's been following this storm as it's been moving its way out of southwest Nebraska. Again, we do have a tornado watch that is in effect until 10 o'clock. And that includes the Tri-Cities, most of central Nebraska under this tornado watch until 10 p.m. as we've been waiting on this warm front all day long to work its way into the region. And now that it has, we're starting to see these storms develop rather quickly. So we're going to stay on. Again, this is our storm chaser, Nathan Moore. We're going to go ahead and stay on his feet a little bit longer. Just want to really take a good look at this thing. Again, it is just to the west and northwest of Oxford. So please, again, if you live in the Oxford area or especially west and northwest of town, you need to be in your safe location right now. And again, that would be your basement, or again, if you don't have a basement, you want to head to the lowest part of your home. Looks like he's starting to maybe think about heading towards moving position here. So we'll go back to Viper radar here, give you a look at the radar indicator rotation, which is just now to the west of Oxford. Oxford, again, you are in this warning. It does appear that the rotation is trying to miss you to the northwest of town. But again, clearly still in the warning. You do not want to be taking that for granted. You should be staying in your safe place right now, again, your basement or the most interior part of your home. We're going to zoom back out. I just want to give you kind of a broader look at things, of what's going on here as this line of storms is moving its way eastward. Now, again, part of the reason we haven't had these storms explode like there was potential for them to is that warm front took a long time to make its way in. Last hour, it was 101 degrees in Smith Center, 75 in Hastings. Yeah, the warm front's just been very slow to move north. Part of that is because of the rainfall that we had last night. But we have this line of storms that is moving its way east-northeastward, including the tornado warning that remains in effect, again, for portions of Harlan and Furnace counties, including the town of Oxford. Latest update coming in here as we check velocities. Again, seeing that rotation just to the west-northwest of town. So again, tornado warning in effect until 6:15 for the northeastern part of Furnace and the northwestern part of Harlan counties. It's moving northeast at around 40 miles per hour. Still seeing radar indicated rotation, especially kind of right in between Oxford and Edison in those areas. And again, you should be seeking shelter immediately as that storm is lifting its way off to the northeast and moving at a fairly good clip of speed. It's moving at around 40 miles per hour. It is a little bit of a messy signature here. It's certainly not the most well-defined notch, but you'd be looking, in this area here, west of Oxford, for that rotation. And we do have, again, our storm chaser, Nathan Moore, who is tracking it. What's probably also there, I'll speculate that we've got other volunteers out, possible fire department, things of that nature. And I want to say thank you to everybody who does go out and spots for National Weather Service and sends that information in. You guys are just so valuable when it comes to situations like this. It's incredibly valuable to get that information directly in as fast as possible from people who are out there watching it. Well, there certainly is still some rotation embedded within that. National Weather Service reporting the couplet weakening a little bit, but looking here with Nathan, again, this is our storm chaser Nathan Moore. That rotation is certainly still embedded within. And just checking to see if we have anything new from the National Weather Service. Yeah, so a storm chaser reported a brief touchdown of a rope tornado about 2 to 3 miles north of Beaver City. That was at approximately 5:51. That is from this same storm. Okay, so this storm that we're looking at right now has a history of producing at least a brief rope tornado. That is pretty good structure on that storm right here, and certainly could be capable of producing a tornado at any minute. This is just around the Oxford area. Dave's over here watching closely. Dave, I'm going to go back to radar real quick. You keep an eye on Nathan's stream and let me know if I need to go back to it, okay? So again, we're looking just to the west of town here, just northwest of Oxford now. This would be the area of concern. We have seen the rotation, at least on velocities, is certainly broadening out. But when you take a look at what's actually, kind of ground truth, so to speak, with our chaser Nathan Moore here, still looks to be an extremely dangerous storm. We will continue to stay with this. The warning runs for about another 7 minutes. And again, our policy here in the First Alert Weather Center, especially when we've got towns impacted by a tornado warning, we will stay on the air as long as we have to make sure this information is getting out to everybody who is impacted by it. So as we continue to watch Nathan's stream here, kind of going behind the cloud cover there, or the trees, I should say, losing the cloud cover. We'll go back to radar real quick. Just take a peek at things here. Again, north of Oxford would be the concern here, kind of Road 722 there. Yeah, I mean, this would be your area of concern. So if you live Oxford northward, you need to be in your safe location of your home, away from any doors and windows. Again, this warning runs for about another 6 minutes. Got an update coming in from the Weather Service right now. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued for Phelps County. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out for everybody so we can get a good look at this. A new severe thunderstorm warning that's been issued for Phelps, southeastern Gosper, northeastern Furnace, and northern Harlan counties until 7 o'clock, including Loomis and Holdridge. 60-mile-per-hour wind gust, penny-size hail, the possibility with that storm. And you can see the warning here, which is including this tornado warning. So it's all the same cell. So far, these storms have not shown the capability of being significant hail makers. We did have ping pong ball size hail earlier in Hitchcock County, but so far they really have not shown much in the way of hail potential, which after what happened Saturday or Friday night, I should say, in Cozad, I think everybody would be very happy to avoid anything like that. But this is really the first storm that we have had, and that couplet is still very much pronounced. The rotation's still very much there as it's, again, moving northeast. This is the first real storm that has shown the ability to tap into the atmospheric conditions, because south of the warm front, the rapid destabilization of the atmosphere has been pretty impressive, looking at some of the data that's been coming in. And this is the first that we've actually had a storm so far actually take advantage of those conditions. So tornado warning remains in effect until 6:15 for parts of Harlan and Furnace counties. Again, moving its way northeastward, we're really going to have to watch southwestern Phelps County too. So southwestern Phelps County, you are just outside of that tornado warning, but you need to be prepared as well. as that couplet is continuing to work its way to the north and to the northeast at around 40 miles per hour. So right now, again, Holdridge, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning, but you need to be paying attention to this tornado warning that is just down to your south and to your west as we continue to watch this moving its way northeastward. Again, the tornado warning runs for about another 3 minutes. We're going to continue to stay on and cover this for those of you living north of Oxford, as this storm does have a history. It does have a history of producing a tornado. And here comes the new tornado warning for southwestern Phelps, northeastern Furnace, and northern Harlan counties. This storm expected to be around the Atlanta area at around 6:20. So new tornado warning for southwestern Phelps, northeastern Furnace, northern Harlan counties. That runs until 6:45. Radar indicator rotation north of Oxford, moving northeast at around 35 miles per hour. So again, we're going to continue to cover this. Bear with me as I'm going to kick this out to social media. So you might lose my voice just a little bit as I'm in thought trying to make sure I get this put out to Facebook as well as Twitter. It's kind of hard to type and talk at the same time. But tornado warning in effect for portions of Phelps, Harlan, and Furnace counties. And that runs until 6:45 as we have radar indicated rotation with this storm near Oxford. And it does have a history of producing a tornado. Radar indicator rotation near Oxford, and again, it is moving northeast at around 35 miles per hour. If you live in the Atlanta area, you need to be seeking shelter immediately. Again, away from any doors and windows. Find the lowest level of your home. So you go to the lowest level of your home, most central location you can, away from doors and windows. This storm has a history of producing at least one tornado north of Beaver City and is now moving its way towards Phelps County. Atlanta, expected to be in your area at around 6:20. At around 6:20, this is expected to move into your area. So you've got about 5 to 7 minutes before this possible tornado could be moving into your area. These storms have also been producing fairly heavy rainfall as they have been moving their way out of southwest Nebraska, now moving into portions of central Nebraska. Yeah, National Weather Service stating that the rotation increasing on that storm, so the tornado warning was reissued, which now includes the towns of Loomis, as well as Holdridge, Atlanta. You should be seeking shelter. So again, here's Atlanta, showing up right here on the map. Again, Holdridge to Atlanta, Loomis, all included in this tornado warning. The area of concern is almost due north of Oxford now. There's the latest scan that just came in. The couplet, it's a little messy. The rotation is a little more spread out. That's for sure. But again, this is a storm that has a history of producing a rope tornado just to the north of Beaver City. So again, if you live in places like Holdridge, Atlanta, Loomis, you need to be seeking shelter as this storm is headed your way. We also do have a severe thunderstorm warning that continues for the same areas for the potential of quarter-size hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So in addition to the threat of the tornado, we also do have the threat of some hail, and the hail potential will be almost right around the same area of rotation here. So again, moving its way to the northeast at around 30 to 35 miles per hour. And this is certainly a storm. You look at the history for the shear, which again, shear is just kind of it's a measure of the turning of the winds in the storm, and that's what helps to produce the tornadoes. Okay, 2 miles southeast of Oxford at around 6:09, we had a report of a tornado on the ground temporarily, dropping in and out with lots of rotation. So that was at around 6:09, a trained weather spotter reporting a brief touchdown of a tornado from this storm. So again, this is why we are staying on the air. For those of you wanting to tune into the 6 o'clock news tonight, this storm has a history of producing a tornado. Multiple tornadoes, really. Again, we had a report north of Beaver City, and we've also now had a report about 2 miles southeast of Oxford. So if you live in places like Atlanta, Holdridge, Reagan, Loomis, you are included in this tornado warning. And right now, the real concern would be for those of you in Atlanta, as this storm is continuing to move its way off to the north and east. So we'd be looking about 7 miles, maybe 7.5 miles southwest of Atlanta. That is where the highest level of concern would be with this storm, as it again is moving northeast at around 30 miles per hour. So Holdridge, you are in this tornado warning. And again, this is a cell that has a history of producing a tornado, or two at least. Circulation right now in the northwest part of Harlan County. And again, National Weather Service reporting that we've had 2 reports of at least brief tornadoes with this storm. North of Beaver City, just southeast of Oxford. So this is, again, this is not the most classic of setups when it comes to a tornado-producing storm. However, it has certainly shown the capabilities of it. We have a flood advisory that has now been issued for parts of Frontier County. That runs until 9:30 p.m. So as we kind of zoom back out, you can see that we have more storms that have been coming through. There's more storms that are behind this tornado-warned storm. And these portions of the state, so from Eustis southward, there was 2 to 4 inches of rain last night. So now we've got more rain on top of that, thus the need for the flood advisory for portions of Frontier County due to the heavy rains last night and now more rain that is moving its way through. We're going to go ahead and take a quick look at our storm chaser, Nathan. Again, this is
Highway 634.
He's on Highway
East.
634, heading east. This is our storm chaser, Nathan Moore. He's been following this storm as it has been moving its way out of southwest Nebraska, continuing to watch what is a storm that has a history of putting down at least a couple of tornadoes. So the tornado warning runs until 6:45. Until 6:45 for southwestern Phelps, northeastern Furnace, northern Harlan counties, moving northeast at around 35 miles per hour. So moving northeast around 35 miles per hour. The rotation, again, a little spread out. It's a little bit, it's a broad area of rotation, of circulation, which on one hand is certainly welcome news. That would make it more difficult for it to put down, say, a significant long-lived tornado. The problem is it has already had a history of producing at least 2 brief touchdowns. One just outside of Beaver City and one just outside of Oxford. Obviously, one of those brief touchdowns is in the wrong spot. We have some significant problems. So Atlanta, this area of rotation is knocking on your door. So if we put that out at around 30 miles per hour, I would say less than 10 minutes for Atlanta. Holdridge, I'd probably tell you less than 20 for that area of rotation to be headed your way. So we've seen the tornado warning for Furnace County be canceled as the rotation moving out of Furnace County. So now we have our tornado warning that remains in effect for southwestern Phelps, northern Harlan counties until 6:45. Rotation 13 miles southwest of Holdridge, moving northeast at around 30 miles per hour. National Weather Service calling for this storm to be near Atlanta at around 6:25. So again, that's about 4 to 5 minutes. And Holdridge at around 6:35 in about 9 to 10 minutes. Closer to 14 minutes, I suppose, for the Holdridge area. Tornado warning remains in effect until 6:45. Again, for those of you tuning in for the 6 o'clock news, again, it's our policy that when we have a significant area of rotation and a tornado warning, especially heading towards population, we will stay on the air. And right now, Atlanta, that area of rotation is going to be passing very close to town. Very close to town, that area of rotation. There's the latest update. Again, it is just west of town, about 4 miles. About 4 miles southwest and west of Atlanta is where we'd have the highest level of concern with the rotation from this storm. And again, we have our storm chaser, Nathan Moore, who is out tracking this storm.
He's like 2 miles behind where it's rotating the most.
Yeah. So again, Dave's in here. Dave's keeping a good eye on Nathan while I'm looking at radar and helping me out here. So we're continuing to follow this tornadic storm. The tornado warning running until 6:45 for portions of Phelps, southwestern Phelps, as well as northern Harlan counties. And this storm has a history of producing a couple of brief tornadoes that touched down near the Beaver City and near the Oxford areas. So if you live in Atlanta or outside surrounding Atlanta, please be seeking shelter now. Again, this storm with a history of producing tornadoes. So I would ask anyone, especially Atlanta westward right now, to immediately be seeking shelter. Holdridge, Loomis, you are included in this tornado warning, which once again runs until 6:45. This storm, a history of producing tornadoes. I'm going to go ahead and take again a look with our storm chaser, Nathan. Again, Nathan Moore keeping an eye on things for us.
He's south of Atlanta on Highway 634, but they all just pulled over. A lot of folks out there.
That is really concerning here. This area here.
Right.
This area right here, okay? Very concerning here. Again, as they point out, multiple people suddenly pulling over. Very concerning. Again, this is a storm that has a history of producing tornadoes, and certainly that is an area of concern, and this is not far from Atlanta. So please, if you live around Atlanta, seek shelter now. Again, lowest level of your home, away from any doors and windows. As we continue to watch this storm, it's moving northeast at around 30 miles per hour. I'm going to stick with Nathan here so we can see if we can maybe get over these, past these hills here and possibly get a better look at things. As this is a storm with a history of producing a tornado, and there just a little bit ago, it's certainly, I mean, that is an area of concern here. This lowering that we can kind of see here, it's very difficult when you've got this much precipitation in these storms. Very difficult to get a good look at things when that rain starts to get wrapped within them. I'm going to jump back and take a look at velocities real quick because the latest scan had just come in. And again,
That's where it's at.
yeah, this is right where our storm chaser would be. You know, right on the highway here. So again, if you live in Atlanta, please seek shelter. This has been a very active spring, now moving into summer. We have had numerous tornado warnings, numerous tornadoes, and this storm does have a history of producing tornadoes. So if you live in the Atlanta area, especially west and southwest of town, you need to be in the lowest level of your home immediately now. This storm is very concerning as it continues to show areas of rotation. Moving northeast, it's heading directly towards Atlanta and possibly eventually directly towards Holdridge. Again, our storm chaser Nathan out on this storm, but very difficult to get a good look at it because of the amount of precipitation that is associated with it. So much rain gets pulled into these systems, you just don't get a good look at things. And it's in those kind of situations that we have to look at, things like Viper radar here and look at this area of rotation just to the, essentially right on top of Atlanta is where we're looking at the potential for a possible tornado. So once again, for those of you who live around the Atlanta area, please be seeking shelter now. You should have already been in your safe place, lowest level of your home. This is certainly a very concerning storm as it is moving its way to the northeast at around 30 miles per hour. Meteorologist Kyle Kleckner is also out on this storm. He is located south of Holdridge, reporting significant rotation. Significant rotation south of Holdridge. I do not have his exact location, but this storm, again, for those of you who have kind of been following along off and on, National Weather Service reporting this rotation with a possible tornado. They're thinking Holdridge around 6:45, maybe a little bit sooner than that. But these are storms that up until just now have not been able to fully take advantage of the atmospheric conditions that are in place, partially because the warm front took so long to get in there. But now, you've got what appears to be a pretty good hook developing on the south side of this storm. We've got the rotation located in essentially the same area. And boy, that area of rotation is moving directly into the Atlanta area. Again, this is very concerning. For those of you around the Atlanta area, please be taking this. Again, this so far right now is a radar indicated rotation. However, we've had at least 2 reports of brief touchdowns with this same cell. And with the amount of precipitation that is falling from this, what is a very efficient rain-making storm, it's going to be extremely difficult to actually see a tornado. It's also a setup where the tornado could touch down briefly, then go back up, and then could touch down again later. This is just a dangerous situation when you just really can't get a good visual on a rotating storm like this. So we're asking everyone around the Atlanta area, because that rotation is moving through your area right now. Okay? This is a dangerous storm that has a history of producing a couple of tornadoes. The tornado warning runs until 6:45. It includes Loomis, Holdridge, Reagan, but again, right along 6 and 34 there, the rotation's almost following the highway. So again, a concern here that the rotation is moving through the Atlanta area as I'm speaking. Continuing to show that the shear or the change in wind direction that helps produce these tornadoes. We'll zoom back out just to give you kind of a broad look. This is the only storm right now that even has a severe thunderstorm warning on it. This is the only one we've got. Problem is, it's moving through Phelps County,